let the people hear you first. You know what I'm saying? Fuck all that promotions and posters and flyers and magazine ads, and that's bullshit. They don't hear you. You know what I'm saying? They just, they see a picture of you. Who the fuck is that? Who cares?
As you mature and evolve as an artist, which every artist hits that one point where certain things work from, as you mentioned, and you start moving on, you start maturing, you start evolving, and you go from, I wouldn't say change from one genre to the next, but to simply changing your style of or what you talk about in your tracks. How do you feel the fans relate to you? You know, because if you mature and evolve, so do your fans because of the content that you'll put up in your album or track or your single, whatever it is. How do you feel your fans relate to what you put out?
I always go off of real life, so that'll always be my inspiration. I always stick to real life, and I could talk about drugs, I could talk about cars, I could talk about partying and drinking and everything that you hear on the radio in a song. I could do that. Relationships, fucking bitches, whatever, smoking weed, like I can do that. But it's always gonna have my touch. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna regurgitate and copy what's out there just to get a couple hits and make a few bucks or whatever. People, I want them to relate to what I'm saying. So, and that's the fucked up part is like nobody likes the truth in public, but behind closed doors they love that shit. And you know what I mean? Because they feel it, you know? And I guess, it's one of those things where like people have always given me props on the low. Instead of like going out and telling people like, yo, you gotta hear it, dude, listen to this, listen to that song, it's this, it's that. People have always kind of low-key giving me props because it's truthful. I try to keep the shit honest and base it on real life. So that'll always be there. I'll never stray from that. Even, if I do get money and I do, change my living, conditions or whatever, that shit will never change because it's a part of me. It made me want.
So it's safe to say you pretty much practice what you preach. There's no other way around it but being truthful, and it is what it is.
Because I couldn't live with myself if I got on a song and I'm talking about, running bricks and shooting 80 motherfuckers and, my mansion this and my Rolls Royce and, bulletproof this and like, yo, that shit ain't real. It's bulletproof vest right there though, but the shit ain't, you know what I mean? But, it's like, it wouldn't be real. It wouldn't be truthful. So I couldn't live with myself, you know what I mean? Because that's acting. And like if I wanted to be an actor, that's what the fuck I would have did. I didn't come into this to act, So I guess that's where it comes from. Is like I can't look people in the face knowing I'm a fucking liar. You know what I mean? That shit's whack. Sorry, but I'm not sorry.
What are your aspirations? Where do you see yourself, as far as fan base and what you're doing in 5 to 10 years? It seems like cliche, that question gets old, but it really is.
No, you're the first person to ask me that, honestly. I get a lot of questions, but 5, 10 years, I know I have goals and then I have dreams, you know what I'm saying? And like being independent, not having the funding some artists have, like I gotta fucking grind consistently to stay neck and neck with them. And I'm hoping that somebody sees the potential in what I'm doing and is willing to invest. Whether they pick me up on a label, they want to start a label with me, they want to invest in an album, in a project, in a tour, because I'm a walking business. I know how to market myself. I know how to go out and grind. I interact with my fans. It's not like I'm just hoping Dr. Dre is one day gonna miraculously go on YouTube and find my shit. You know what I mean? Like that's not gonna happen. So 5 years, I'm gonna grind my ass off. Hopefully, I'll be fucking in Australia doing a stadium full of people. You know what I'm saying? That's where I want to be. And I always said like, yo, I go from the House of Blues to house parties and then right back. You know what I mean? And I've literally done that shit. Cause if you got love for what I'm doing, I'll be there. You know what I'm saying?
Right now that you mentioned Australia performing, in your opinion, which has been your most memorable performance? I know you've done the Warped Tour, Advanced Warped Tour, you've done System Tour, you've done, countless tours. Which one to you has been the most memorable?
Shit.
You've also done the Solstice, right?
I did Solstice. There's a festival up there in Nevada called Speak Your Mind. That shit's covered on like national TV. It's funny because that shit ain't even in California, but they show me love and put me on that festival. Pay dues is down the street and I can't get on. But that's a whole nother fucking subject. But anyway, man, there's been a lot of good experiences. I think this last show I did in Oregon was crazy though. Probably just because the trip itself, driving through the fucking snow. You know, come from the hood, like it don't fucking snow in LA. You know what I mean? So like, I never got a chance to really like play in the snow. You know what I mean? And so we're grown ass kids. You know what I mean? We're out there driving through the snow, get out, pee in the snow, like oh shit, it's melting. You know what I mean? Make snowballs, throw them at each other, like it's a trip, falling in the snow. So that was just a crazy experience to get outside. I had been, you know, been in New York and been other places, but that kind of like it was a trip because it took me back to being a kid. It was like, yo, I always wanted to do this, but it took 20 fucking years for me to finally do this shit. You know what I'm saying? So that was real dope. Shout out to the homie Cast Iron, everybody up there in Oregon, Portland, Bend, everybody up there doing their thing. I would say, and then that was real current too, but yeah, that one stands out to me.
The last tour date was July 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, right? Last year?
Yeah, I think it was in July. And the way I set it up was like, there's no headliner. So it's not like, I'm not paying a headliner so I could tag along with him. You know what I mean? And there are some rappers that do that. I ain't hating on it, but don't act like you're doing more than me because you got the money to do it. I've been offered to go on a tour with the big artist, I won't say no names. It was gonna cost me like 20 grand. And I couldn't even ride in the fucking bus. So like, you want me to open up for you on a nationwide tour, but I can't be on a bus with you, so I gotta follow you in a little sidecar or some shit. You know what I mean? We can't hang out, but I'm opening for you. Like that shit, that type of business fucks the game up. Because instead of you picking somebody like, yo, that motherfucker is dope, I want him to rock before I go on to get the crowd hyped up. You're just gonna charge a motherfucker 20 grand. And who gives a fuck what he sounds like? So I set up my tour myself, and luckily there's people, you know, throughout the country and throughout the world that feel what I'm doing. They like what I do, so they open up opportunities for me to fly out there, drive out there, and rock a couple shows, do interviews and things like that. So I call it, you know, on my own tour, because I seen people go on the road with headliners and just kind of ride off of their name. You know what I'm saying? And kind of just. And then, you know, yo, that's the homie, but that shit is fake, and you know it.
Speaking of interviews, man, I read that you've done college interviews for college newspapers. Newspapers have different magazines, and a lot of people have been feeding off of what Pawz 1 is about.
That's crazy, because when I met Raz when I was in prison, and I'm like, yo, this might be my only chance to ever talk to dude. You know what I mean? So when I finally got the time to talk to him, first question I asked him was like, yo, you know, all due respect, you're a legend, you know, blah, 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 man, respect. But, yo, how do I go about getting a publicist? And that's a strange fucking question to ask somebody in prison, because most motherfuckers don't even know what that is or can barely pronounce the shit. And he was like, yo, like, well, this and that. He kind of, you know, gave me some game on it. I was doing research when I was in there, got out. Because I know having a publicist can get you on XXL like that. It can get you on World Star, it can get you on all these blogs. And that's what I needed, the exposure. I got the music, I just need the exposure. So not having a publicist, it fucking sucks. You know what I'm saying? Because you're underexposed. That's why I appreciate Steelo magazine making time to come, you know, give me some exposures, shed some light on what I'm doing. So these people would just come to shows. They'd be in the crowd. You know, I don't know who they are. Like I said, I treat everybody the same. Somebody would come up and be like, yo, I run this magazine, or I interview this for the college, and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh shit, dope. But I didn't act like an asshole with them. And I could have, you know, brushed them off or whatever. And shit, since then, like blogs, you know, some blog in Chicago hit me up, blogs in Canada, and like, just without me really submitting, they're just kind of picking up on what I'm doing. So I'm real grateful to all of them, you know, for giving me that chance.